Hey guys, thanks for coming. Check out another video of another product that a lot of you guys have been purchasing over the last few years. We've had a lot of success with guys running a complete package. A lot of guys have also purchased just the brackets themselves for going ahead and putting together their own kit. But this video is gonna pretty much feature and detail the complete kit that we offer. Now the kit's gonna come with a set of spark plug leads, 8.5 millimeter. These are all MSD genuine, high quality spark plug wires. It's gonna come with the pre-wired harness. The maiden connector is included for your Deutsch, as well as a ground lead. Now, this is the final product. This video is pretty much gonna go through how I get to here, from individual components, the offerings, the options on the brackets, as well as color variations. So let's jump on into the full assembly, going from the wires to the kits to everything that you need to know about the IGN1A GTE, VVTi and non-VVTi kit. And guess what? We just started releasing a full package for the 1J VVTi as well as the 1J non-VVTi. So all of the 1J little brother guys, guess what? You can jump in on here. Now, some of you are gonna say, well, how come there's nothing for the 2J GE guys, the NA guys, the NAT guys? Well, guess what? You have a couple options. Either if you're running a set of GTE valve covers, these brackets will bolt right up. And if you were lucky enough to purchase a set of my billet valve covers, these brackets will also bolt right up, because my GE billet valve covers are a duplicate of my pre-existing GTE valve covers. So they have the exact same bolt pattern on the top of the lid. So you'll be able to grab this kit as is, ready to go, one piece, and just right on top, grab your wires, go make some big juice power. So without skipping over anything else, let's jump on to the next step where we start putting everything together and I start going into a little bit more detail on the kit. Now, as far as assembly goes on the kit, if you purchase the complete package, this will all come put together for you. But for those of you that might have grabbed individual pieces, let me go ahead and show you how all this gets put together. First, we're gonna wanna open up the hardware. Your shoulder bolts are actually what's gonna be used to mount the brackets to the actual valve cover. So we're not gonna touch those for now. The longer set with the spacers are gonna be for mounting the coils. Now, some of you guys might ask, well, which side does the spacers go on, top or bottom? The spacers go on the bottom of the coils. That's how I designed the kit, for two reasons. One, it functions as a heat isolator. So what's gonna happen is, once this is assembled, it's gonna prevent transient heat from moving up into the coil body itself. So, because it is a thermoplastic, so it will isolate the heat that's being transferred from the cylinder head to the engine. Now, it is going to help to isolate heat from being transferred from your engine directly to the bracket and thus forth into the coils. So even though you can put it either way, I designed it for the spacer to be underneath the coil. Now, the second reason the spacer is designed to be underneath the coil is that for you guys that are actually running the factory cross ventilation tubes between the valve covers, this placement of the spacer is going to prevent the coil body from actually resting, once it passes through, from resting on your actual crossover tubes. So it's a dual purpose. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this, and then we'll get everything set up. So I'm gonna do these one at a time. And that's it. That's your primary assembly right now. As you see, the coils are higher. They will not interfere with your crossover tubes on the guys running those. And remember, now the next thing, obviously we offer these for both cylinder heads, VVTi and non-VVTi. These will only fit GTE valve covers, whether it's factory or a set of my billets. The reason they will fit my billets is because I have identical bolt spacing so that you can use either this cover or your factory covers. Now, if you're using my billets on a GE cylinder head, it's the exact same thing. So if you have a set of my billet valve covers on a GE head, you'll be able to use either one of these brackets. That's why you won't see an individual listing for IGN on a GE on the site. Now, as you can see here, if you're looking, what's the difference between both brackets? Very simple, only one thing, just the oil cap location. All of the other bolt holes are the same. The only difference is the front hole on a VVTi is only there for the machine and fixture. Obviously, if you've looked at your VVTi cylinder head, you don't have a front one on the intake side, but we still use it as far as related to the manufacturing process on the fixture. So outside of that, that is the only difference between these brackets, is just the cutout for the oil cap location. Now, for those interested, I also have these available in black. There is a additional cost associated with it just because the anodizing has to be a process on there. But outside of that, you can get them in raw machine finish or the anodized black for right now. So the next thing you'll notice is your kit is gonna come with a full set of coil wires. These are MSDs, these are not an off-the-shelf wire. I actually assemble these myself in-house. MSD doesn't sell these off the shelf. That's why you can't find them anywhere. So I actually do cut, crimp, do everything to create these wires to the proper length so that they'll match this configuration. And the easiest way, I'll show you now. This is pretty much how it will be set up when it's in your vehicle. There it is. You'll feel it when it pops into the boot. And these will drop down onto your spark plugs. Now, when you're actually setting this up, the simplest way to set these up is to actually put these onto your spark plug leads first, leave these up, and as you're dropping the bracket with the coils down, just fish them through. That's the reason why you see all of these indentations and pockets, is so that you have plenty of space to fish the coils through to get up to each actual individual coil and not have any issues. So it's not just about weight savings or trying to look fancy. It actually is purposeful as far as the installation process goes. And the last component on the kit, obviously, is going to be the plug and play harness, which you'll see is already laid out to connect to each bracket, or I should say each coil in its position on the bracket. As you can see, you can install them before or after. You can easily remove them. Now, for those asking, depending on how you have your coil or your harness oriented, you can actually lead the trail and ground trigger wire to either the rear of the head, or some guys actually reverse it and run it around to the front, because some, on a lot of race cars, their harnesses actually come from the front and come this way. So it'll work either way. The only difference is obviously if you were to reverse it, your coil 1 wire would be on your coil 6. So as far as when you're configuring your software, that's an easy adjustment. So no big deal there. But it does give you that level of versatility, because I have seen guys that'll either run them to the rear or run them to the front. And the next step, I'm gonna take this over to an engine and show you how we drop it down on a set of valve covers. Now, as I said before, go ahead and install the coil plugs actually on the engine before you try to fish the bracket down. And just get every coil boot up through a cutout. That way it's easier for you to maneuver. Okay, the front one doesn't have to come through, because the front of the bracket is actually relieved specifically for the front one. You're ready to make some power. From there, it's just about wiring the maiden connector back to whatever engine harness or standalone you might already have on your car or your chassis. But other than that, man, this couldn't be any easier. It's pretty much designed to be as not direct turnkey, obviously, because we're using a lot of different components that weren't meant to be together. But this kit really simplifies the process. Feel free to grab one. They're on the site. We stock plenty of coils. Brackets are relatively ready to go. Alternate colors like the black, I also usually have as well. As far as for this video, one key thing is, even though you see that I'm running the Haltex, these will work, the brackets and the kits will work with AEM as well as most other standard manufacturers. So Fuel Tech as well as Mega Squirt. Anything that you're getting that costs $20 a coil on eBay or Amazon, throw it in the trash. The bolt pattern is actually different. We make a notation in the item's description that tells you it will not work, because I've had numerous people over the years that actually buy those and then email me telling me my bracket was made wrong. No, obviously, if you have a set of Haltech, Mega Squirt, Fuel Tech, or AEM coils, everything's gonna work 100%. If you happen to buy a bracket and your coils don't fit, that probably tells you that whoever you sold them to or whoever you purchased them from, I should say, sold you a bunch of cheap knockoff brackets. So that's the #1 key. Genuine brackets will mount up, no questions asked. Other than that, hit the subscribe button, follow along. I'll be going into more detail on all of the products, and I hope to see an order come in from you guys. Thanks.